What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
Alrighty, so we got episode 4 of She-Hulk this week is called Is This Not Real Magic? I'm not going to get fooled again, Marvin, by this weird IMDb shit.
1.4 is what we got this week, boys.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Great episode.
Actually, this was my favorite episode so far. This episode opens up, we got the introduction of a struggling stage magician and former master of the mystic arts in training, Donnie Blaze.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to speculate on him in a little bit, Marvin. I see you sitting there like, who the fuck is this guy? I don't know. I don't know either, to be fair, but I got some thoughts. But Donnie,
got nothing.
Don't be so sure. I could pull shit out of a hat as good as a magician can. I'll tell you what, when it comes to speculation. But Donnie's your run-of-the-mill stage magician, and in this scene, you could see his audience isn't really like very engaged. And
Yeah, I thought it was in Vegas at one of these shitty
no, it was actually
old ass hotels.
It's at the Magic Castle in California, which is like a famous place for like magic and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his audience is looking bored. They're yawning. You know, not a great place you'd want to go on a date, because you wouldn't be getting a second date after taking somebody to see Donnie. That is though, Marvin, until he calls up somebody from the crowd, and he pulls out a sling ring, and he opens up a portal, and he accidentally sends her into another dimension.
Madison.
Yeah, Madison with 2 N's and 1 Y, but not where you might think.
Mm-hmm.
She actually ends up in Wong's fucking crib in Kamar-Taj while he's just minding his own business watching The Sopranos, which, by the way, I saw on one of the Easter egg channels that we watched. They pointed out it was actually season 5, episode 12, which is where they kill Adriana. So very famous moment, and it gets spoiled for Wong.
Spoils it.
Yeah, which is pretty funny.
He's so pissed. You don't know if he's at that moment more pissed at the spoiler or the fact that the guy's using portals.
Hey, probably both. Wouldn't you be pissed, Marvin, if 12 years after the fact you were watching Sopranos, and then, I mean, you did watch it 12 years after the fact. So
I did.
What if it got spoiled for you?
But I would have been really pissed. Yeah.
You had to pause it and then somebody shows up in your living room and spoils it. Right?
Especially in that moment, because that's like one of the bigger moments of the show. Wong is not a big, as you alluded to, he's not a big fan. He's a little agitated, but he's not a fan that of Donnie's irresponsible use of the mystic arts. So he enlists the help of Jennifer to. They want to place a cease and desist order on Donnie to prevent him from using the power any further. And we see later in the episode that doesn't quite work and leads to a bit of chaos. But this actually, this was pretty much our, I guess, where we thought the show was going to go, how each episode or every couple episodes was going to focus on a new case.
Yep.
And in sort of like a procedural sense with some other stuff going on, which is actually pretty cool. It's kind of interesting. Matter of fact, I think today they showed a preview of the next episode, and I think next episode's the one where we're going to get Matt Murdock. So that's pretty exciting. That's Daredevil, Marvin.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, oh, it's just another
You're like
another guy. That's cool.
Matt Murdock. All right, sounds good. So yeah, and when we were introduced to Jennifer in this episode, there was actually it's a funny moment when you're introduced to her. It's kind of like it's a fourth wall break, and she's like, "Oh, hey, you guys look excited. Must be because Wong showed up. Everybody loves Wong." And she mentions like, it's almost like giving this episode Twitter armor for a week.
Yeah, that shit was funny.
And this is now the second episode where they're trolling the anti-woke
Haters.
woman haters who are trolling the shit out of the show in reviews on Twitter, YouTube videos. But I
I
think
wouldn't say all the haters are anti-woke. I would just call them haters because lots of people hate it for
True.
different reasons.
That's true.
fair.
I hated the twerking, but not because I hate women and
Yeah.
am anti-woke. It was just looking bad.
Right.
That's fair.
CGI.
But I think it's funny and brilliant in a way that this, like the writers, like they made the show months and months ago. So it was just funny that in writing, they anticipated that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Which is why I specifically said about women, because like that's the reason they anticipated it. But that was
They
pretty.
know, dude. They know who's watching.
Yeah, oh yeah, they know their
They're
audience
well
for
aware.
sure.
Yeah.
In more ways than one, not just in those types of ways. But that was a funny moment, one of many funny moments in this episode. This was actually a very funny episode, I thought.
It was good.
But
it was good.
well, we're introduced to Jennifer. She's actually started using a dating app, basically Tinder, in this episode, and she's not having much luck as Jennifer. So she decides to make her profile under She-Hulk,
Mm-hmm.
and then her shit starts blowing up, and she gets a ton of responses. But unfortunately for her, she goes on some shitty dates, and we get this sort of like not a montage, but a segment where she's going on several dates with several shitty dudes. We get one guy who's just like, you know, he's like looking at women as they walk past. He like doesn't pay for the drinks, and we get another guy who's like probably a serial killer. Who's talking about
a big ass buff dude. You know, he was a wrestler.
Not the buff
He used
dude.
to be a wrestler.
Well,
Oh, okay.
well, no, the buff guy was funny because he was like attracted to her because she was buff and was like, "Oh, I could bench 350. How much could you bench?"
Yeah.
But then there was
You know,
the
he
other
was a
guy.
wrestler. It was crazy.
In like the WWE or
Yeah, like a professional wrestler.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
What was his name? I didn't catch that.
I don't know. I looked him up because he looked familiar, but he didn't look familiar because of what I originally thought. He
Oh,
was
was
from
it
this old show, VH1 reality TV show is what I knew him from.
David Otunga? Is that him?
Yeah, that's him.
As I was referencing the guy who was like, "So do you think vibranium can penetrate your skin?"
Oh, that guy.
And
Yeah.
she was like, "Huh, why? You got some on you? You want to try it out?" And he's like, "No, but you're quite a specimen." Fucking
Yeah, she was so offended.
fucking psychopath. And then she meets, you know, the too good to be true, like rich doctor, good looking dude who she actually takes home. And that made for some funny moments too, especially when she like carries him into her bed, her
Oh, yeah.
bedroom, and he was just like a baby.
I will say the CGI was looking a lot better this episode. I think
Nah,
the movements were looking more fluid. The close up was good when she got on top of the dude.
not for me.
I think it was a lot better.
I
than the
feel
last
like
episode.
it's hit or miss. Some of it's you don't really notice it, and some of it you're like, "Ugh."
Each episode has gotten worse and worse for me, but I know it hasn't
Really?
actually physically changed. I don't think anyway. I think I just notice it more now for some reason.
Yeah.
But it's because it's as we
It probably is the same every single episode.
probably, but from what I was saying last time, it's just like her. I think it's her interaction with like actual human actors is what's kind of off-putting a little bit.
hmm
But I don't know. I was saying that this is like a really funny episode, and there were a lot of funny moments. I think this is the funniest episode so far, thus making it my favorite episode. And you know, we get like that funny moment we just said where she's carrying the dude to her fucking bedroom. We get the fucking quintessential drunk white chick who's like, "Hey, Wongers, oh, I just smoked the wrong end of a cigarette." Like, I thought she was fucking hilarious, and I've known
Yeah,
a
she
lot
was
of
good.
like women like that in my life growing up, so that was pretty
Some-
fucking funny.
Kardashian-esque.
Right, like typical like Valley Girl
Like,
type of thing.
And when she drops it on Wong,
stumbling their way through everything and being
when she
nonchalant about it.
yeah, and when she drops it on Wong the first time, and she's like explaining what happened, she's like, "So he sent me to a diff dimension," and I thought that was really fucking funny. And yeah, I thought Wong is really funny too. Jennifer was not wrong. I do love seeing me some Wong. Wong is great because I guess I don't know, like he's just written in like a comedic way, and he was in the first Doctor Strange movie, kind of done similarly. But I love the fact that he has such a serious role, like in terms of like as a character, his role in the
He does.
MCU is like he's literally the last line of defense for the entire like multiverse as we know it.
Yep.
Which is hilarious, seeing as how big of a joke he was in the fucking Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, actually, in that same Easter eggs video, they mentioned that apparently there was a bit of like a romance side plot that was written into the movie for Wong.
Oh yeah.
With the chick that sacrificed herself for him.
Yeah, she stabbed the Necronomicon and
Wrong movie.
Yeah.
The Dark
Books
Hold.
of the Dead's always
The Demogorgon.
Dark Hold.
Yeah. So there was
she stabbed it and gave herself up. Yeah, and died. I don't know. I thought this episode.
Not a fan.
I mean, for I guess a courtroom of the week, it was okay. Like, I understand that they needed to, like, okay, what about magic? Because we have these Sorcerer Supremes and stuff, and let's make a legal precedent, like, kind of deal. But the way they went about it, I don't know. I just felt like Wong, the guy had a sling ring, and Wong, instead of like just taking it back, he's like,
I was thinking the same thing.
We've got to go to the attorney and set precedent so that unregistered people can't. I'm like, what?
Right.
Now
that feels kind of dumb.
All right. That's a nitpick a little too far, all right? Because if that's the case, you don't have a fucking episode. You got to give her
I know,
some
that's
shit
what I'm
to do.
saying.
That's what he's saying.
Well,
It's
yeah,
like,
you have.
No, I get
that was
it.
it just like there could have maybe I haven't really thought about a better way to do it, and I understand, like, I don't know, it's a week to week thing, but it felt like they could have done something more creative than what they did.
No, it's a fair nitpick.
I mean, definitely there was some funny part. Madison was great, hilarious.
Yeah,
like she made some deal with. I mean, is this Mephisto we're talking to here? Like, she
the
made some
demon
deal
Jake.
with Jake the demon. Yeah, like what's going on with that? Like, she has a heart in her hand when she comes to see.
oh
Wong.
yeah.
Well, that brings me to the speculation that I wanted to do. And you just mentioned it right there, because thus far in the MCU, like, they don't just do stuff for the sake of doing it, usually. I can't actually think of a time when they did just have an Easter egg that didn't eventually lead to something. Maybe in its inception it was just an Easter egg, but it always paid off at some point. And I don't think that introducing a character, whether he show up ever again or not, that has like an identical nearly name to another big character in the MCU, I don't think that's just an Easter egg. And the name Donnie Blaze sounds a tad bit like a stage name, which many magicians have, right?
True.
So it's possible that our boy Donnie took inspiration for his stage name from a certain stunt performer, Marvin, and
Johnny
the
Sins.
motherfucking spirit of vengeance himself, Johnny Blaze. Johnny Sins, no, that'd be funny if the dude with the biggest dick on earth fucking just shows up in the MCU. No, Johnny Blaze, Marvin, the spirit of vengeance, a.k.a. Ghost Rider, baby. Oh, yeah.
Nick Cage. Yeah, let's go. Bring him back.
Well, no.
No?
No.
No Nick Cage?
Strong rumors suggest this time it's going to be Keanu, because there's been like the
shit.
There's been
I'm
like the
down for that.
Keanu Reeves and MCU connection a lot in the past couple months, and I think he'd be a good Ghost Rider. But I am embarrassed that I didn't even think of this. I had to see it on like a Twitter post. Make it Norman Reedus. Like, he was born to play Ghost Rider. The guy's a biker in real life. He's got that fucking, like, he basically played the same character in fucking Walking Dead all these years. So
straight up, yeah.
he would be a great fucking Ghost Rider. And recently, I think it was at Comic-Con, where, or maybe it was last year, I don't know, Kevin Feige in one of those like interviews was like, yeah, we're starting to get all these the mystical elements to the MCU with Doctor Strange and Ghost Rider and blah 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 blah. So they're gearing up for, they got Blade, okay, they got the Black Knight, they got Doctor Strange and like his cohorts, and I just don't think the name Donnie Blaze is an accident. It literally rhymes with Johnny Blaze.
True.
So that's besides the fact that the dimension that he opened up twice by accident happened to be a dimension that basically was hell.
Right.
That demons were fucking pouring out of. And she herself made a deal with a demon. Like, we're talking about That's the only thing that could possibly be. That's it. It's just all it could be. So I
that's
don't.
what they want you to think, and then that's when they throw you the twist.
But they don't do that though ever. Like when have they ever done that really? When have they ever made such like a big, seemingly big reference like this and then not paid it off?
We thought we were gonna see Mephisto in WandaVision.
Maybe we still will. He literally opened up a fucking dimension to the portal to fucking hell, essentially. What is the actual realm called in Marvel? I can't think of the name of it. Where Mephisto resides. Is it just hell? Or the dark? That's not the dark dimension. The dark dimension is where what's his name lives.
Pretty sure it's just hell.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, I just think it's all too it's all too convenient for it not to be leading to something down the road. And they yeah,
but it's probably just breadcrumbs at this point.
Well, yeah,
Link. We may not hear anything about this for
yeah, for sure. I don't think Ghost Rider's gonna fucking pop up in this show. I just think it's just like a breadcrumb, like you said. I mean, for instance, with the Wolverine thing from a couple episodes ago, like that's not just a fucking Easter egg. Like Wolverine's coming down the road at some point. So I think this is a similar thing. But that brings me to the end of the episode where, I mentioned briefly Donnie opens up this big, a portal a second time. He does not listen to the cease and desist order. Well, actually, the judge doesn't.
They ruled in his favor.
They ruled in his favor temporarily while they, I guess, looked over the information.
Right.
So he does it again, and this time the portal is out of control, and demons start spilling out of it, and poor Jennifer, while she's on her date with the too good to be too true doctor, she gets fucking. That was a really funny moment too when Wong just like shows up and she's like, they're about to like make out on the couch.
Yeah,
he's like,
why aren't you answering your phone? Oh, never mind.
He's like, I feel like your father. But she helps Wong fight some demons, and then she pops back in. She's all fucking full of demon guts. I guess has sex with this dude. And the next morning, she's in her human form, and he's not a fan. He's like, "Oh, this is unexpected. I gotta go."
Yeah, I'm out of here.
So
and then she gets served papers.
Yeah, episode ends with her being served
trademark.
papers from Titania. And Titania's suing her over the name She-Hulk.
She registered the trademark.
She registered the trademark, and this was actually cool because I think I said this in the first episode when Titania shows up. She's like a pretty big villain in the She-Hulk comic books, and she's like she's sort of like she's in like this self-imposed like competition with her. So it's cool that in the show, to make it more relevant to modern times, she's a influencer, right? A social media influencer, and her way of competing with She-Hulk is more closely in line with the show's theme, which is like, law and legality and stuff like that. So, so that's how our episode ends. And we get a stinger or post-credit scene or tag, as Jennifer calls it, of Wongers and our girl Madison with
their best budget.
Get yourself some yak milk, Dan.
Yeah. They're watching The Sopranos again, and they're talking about fucking the types of alcohol Wong has had, and he mentions some drink with fucking yak milk, and it's just another little funny moment. None of the post-credit scenes have had any like weight thus far, but it was still a funny one.
Yeah, it was good.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's my I thought this episode was good. It was so far my favorite because it had a little bit of everything. It was funny. It had a little bit of action. There are moments where you kind of like, so not I wouldn't say a drama, but like, she's obviously feeling a little bit down because she's sort of lost between her human form and the She-Hulk and like kind of doesn't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's going through it now. Yeah. Trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it's cool to see her go through the normal struggles of
who she is and who she wants to be.
While still being the superhero.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hope she maybe can find a match. That would be cool for them to flesh that out in the show.
I would date a Hulk. I don't give a fuck. Would you, Marvin?
I think so.
I don't mind getting carried into the bedroom like a fucking baby.
Hell yeah. She's one tripping all the groceries. I'm not picking up shit.
Exactly.
Bitch, you do it.
Yeah, but Dusty's right. You would still have to do it for chivalry.
Nah, fuck that.
You know how much she would brag about you to her girls if she's like, man, he still carries the groceries even though I'm super strong. Oh yeah. Oh,
nah.
yeah.
But then how I'm gonna brag to the boys? Like, dude, I don't even have to carry groceries. She's so fucking. She's so strong. She carries me and the groceries
at the same time
to the house.
On those real lazy days. You just mentioned something that we've touched on it before, but like, you know, seeing her go through those like human struggles.
Yeah.
And that's what makes comic book characters like so good. And, you know, we said this once before too, with like Stan Lee has said this before. It's like,
it's the reason they made them.
yeah, it's not like the super part of these characters that make them interesting and compelling. It's the human parts of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
the battles are fun. They're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The dynamics between hero and villain are good, but it's about what's it like in the day-to-day life of one of these people. And that's what.
And this show's pulling that off well, despite what the haters say. So, very good episode. I liked it. Excited for next week if we're gonna get our first Daredevil appearance in the MCU. Daredevil, not
shit.
Matt Murdock. Yeah, and we'll see what that's all about. Any final thoughts from you guys?
I think it was good. I think it was the longest episode, but it still went by quick. So I was cool with that.
Oh yeah, you've been liking those fucking 10-minute episodes.
Yeah.
Fucking, they're like YouTube shorts.
Straight up, it goes by so quick.
Yeah, it does. I'm liking some of the characters. Madison was amazing, hilarious.
Very funny.
The way they portrayed her, they even gave her some depth. It was good. But I don't know. I wasn't like this episode. There were some things I had some problems with. It just like I was just like, okay, well that was okay. We'll see what's next. I know there's some big characters coming, so
right.
I'm gonna keep watching it and I'm enjoying it. But this one was not my favorite.
All right, that's fair. The one other dude we didn't mention, one other character was Donnie Blaze's, I guess like magician master. Cornelius, played by Leon Lamar. That dude was fucking hilarious.
He was funny.
When Wong was giving his like huge
he went to sleep
speech, and he's just like, that was funny as fuck.
None of that shit would have flown in a courtroom, by the way. All that magic and shit they were doing. And that's like some of the shows. Like, come on,
Judge Dusty.
Judge holding contempt. It was
funny how they were all.
This is court.
Magicians.
This is legal. Okay. I mean, we can have some levity here, but let's try and be somewhat realistic with it. Maybe that's my.
Well, the judge was pissed. She's like,
I like courtroom dramas and comedies, so I kind of want to see it be a little more. I know we're in the realm of fantasy here, but.
To be
Judge
fair,
would have shut that shit down.
She did, though. She did. She was like, all right, enough of this fucking shit. And then when fucking, what's her name, was like, Madison, what did she say? She was like, case closed. The judge was like, no, not case closed.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
yeah, we'll see.
That'll do it for this week's episode of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Tune in next week when we talk about episode 5. If you guys have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, if this is your first time here, please subscribe. And you can check out our website, harshlanguage.tv, for all our past episodes of our podcast, our YouTube videos, and the news that's collected by your boy Dusty over here. But we'll catch you in the next one, folks. Thanks for watching.
See ya.
Costa.